Hi,
Hello.
hi everybody. Every time I hear that song, I'm bouncing on my chair. Oh, it brings me so much joy, especially at the end when everyone shouts, less is more. Girls, it's fabulous to see you all, and the audience, it's great to see you all as well. My name is Neelam. If you don't know me, Neelam Suman. And tonight we have Paula, Rita, and
Hello.
Martha. Girls, hiya, hiya, hiya. Okay, so tonight's topic, female leads and leadership. This is going to be a really interesting one because I've been pondering on it all week, and I've been doing a bit of my homework, and then it just kind of brought me back to the whole uh, journey that I've had in the last 14 years of being in Kizomba and what it meant for me to actually become a female lead for Kizomba, and then starting up with Less is More. But before I get deep into this whole conversation, right, I think it's important that we cover the exciting winner from the last Less is More. So I'm going to hand it over to Ami. Ami, thank you so much. Over to you, girl.
Thank you, Neelam. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our beautiful Friday Night Lives. And it was contest time. Like every time, we have an exciting contest and then it's super, super, super cute gift to be won this time as well. But first, thank you, 𝒍𝒆𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 from last time for her beautiful masks. She's from Portugal and she runs 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 Crafts. Please follow the banner below for her products. She has been kind enough to give out the prizes for the last week's contest. And the winner for last week, drum roll, is Elaine McGowan. If you're watching this, girl, you got lucky. You're winning a beautiful mask.
Yeah, she's on.
She's on?
Wow,
Oh, hi.
really? Elaine
You're
McGowan.
winning. You won last time. Yay. So, coming on to this week's contest, we have, let's show the prize, Paula. Let's show what they're going to win this time, yes?
Okay.
So, Paula, we can have the picture up. I love these.
Yes, it's on.
Yes, we have 𝒍𝒆𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 mugs and more giving this week's, sponsoring this week's contest. And aren't those mugs really cute? Does it come with the spoon and the stand below? It's run by Fahidi Scholes and she makes these mugs. These mugs are handmade and hand painted and they're super, super cute. So this week, this is up for grabs. Everyone, please pay attention to the question this week because this is what you're going to win if you win the contest for this week. So whatever you guys answer, please make sure that you answer within today's live chat in the comments. Put in your comments, put in your names, put in your correct answers. And then next week we'll have a lucky draw of all the correct answers and we will announce the winner who wins 𝒍𝒆𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 mugs and more from Fahidi Scholes. Thank you, Fahidi, for this. And she couldn't be here, so sorry to present all of this live to us, but then she's been very kind enough to give us this to sponsor our event. So the question this week, everyone pay attention, you got to answer it in the comments and the contest is open throughout the live. The question please, Paula. Yeah, it's a pretty easy one actually. Name the 5 original Portuguese-speaking African countries. Let's go. Come on, people. This is the most easiest question here. Name the 5 original Portuguese-speaking African countries. Everyone who's logged in, everyone who's going to watch this video for the next few days, please answer this question to win this beautiful mugs. And we'll be repeating the question once again at the end of the talk. Name the 5 original Portuguese-speaking African countries. Back to you, Neelam, for continuing today's topic.
Ami, thank you so much. Ami, thank you so much. Good and very so good and very loud and clear. And just so you guys know, unfortunately, that lovely spoon does not come with it. It's just the mug. It is just the mug, but it's amazing, isn't it? Look at the mug. It's just fabulous. Can we have the picture up just one more time? She hand paints this mug. It's just incredible how much work she puts into this. So I'm obviously going to order something for myself as well. And ladies, I encourage you guys to do the same because they are fabulous. And it's nothing more, humbling than to be able to support small businesses. And we know what it's like being out with small businesses ourselves, right? Okay,
You'll like that. Nikita are very keen to answer already. Of course, you can answer.
They can. Everybody's welcome to answer because we just draw it out of a hat. So you're welcome to give the answers, and then we just pick out the names randomly at the next less is more. But girls, okay, have fun with this, and guys as well. Get your guy friends onto this live because even though we're talking about female lead and leadership, it's always an interesting perspective to have from a man and how they see us as female lead and leadership and whether they actually really like us doing this kind of work. Let's get a bit of controversy up in here, shall we? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about my journey first because I think it's important that if we're going to talk about female lead and leadership, that it's important that the team get to voice what it is that they've had to endure or enjoyed leading up to being a female lead and leadership. Now, I got involved in 𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 back in 2006. I wasn't teaching then. I was amongst the community, had lots of friends. It was very exciting. And then I came on to teaching in 2008. Excuse me. It's not COVID. I can assure you this dry cough is something completely different. Anyway, and then I was teaching alongside people. So, I wasn't really a lead. But I remember how it turned into me being a female lead is that I really wanted to know. Partly I was frustrated because I never seemed to get a really great dance, right? But secondly, I just was so keen on wanting to teach and have my method of teaching people. And the journey that came to my mind when I started doing this was the necessity to want to make others happy. Okay? Because a lot of time I used to see a lot of women just standing on the sides, never being able to enjoy the dance. And so it was always encouraging to be able to lead a woman and at the same time encourage them to become a female lead. And I did that over quite a long time until I formed a group. And my first group was 𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 family. So a big shout out to those original 𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 family crew out there. You know who you are. It was a wonderful journey. And then I went away. Just quickly, I went away to Vancouver and I came back. But that 14 years of being in 𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 just allowed me to start thinking about. It made me think about what is it that our community needs. And from there, I discovered from my research that we're lacking a lot of direction when it comes to teaching. And so I formed less is more. And I recognized one thing about myself that was pivotal in the whole idea of trying to lead this less is more brand. My first thing was I knew after 3 years that I couldn't do it alone. I needed a team. And it was recognizing my weaknesses within that. I knew there were so many things I just couldn't achieve on my own. I just didn't have the capacity. It's like saying I am talented in all areas, marketing, doing the creative designs, going out there and promoting it, talking to every person. I just didn't have the capacity to do all of that. And so I hand selected, like cherry picking, the women that I wanted to work with. And I've never been in such a position to be able to have such a wonderful team works with me right now. But what did I have to learn from this? I I feel like there was a lot of things that I could say about this, but being called a boss lady. Now, what does it mean to be boss lady? I'm not directive, that's for sure. So it was a big eye opener for me. Yeah, I'm called a boss lady, but I don't think I'm bossy. I have been able to pick out the weaknesses and the strengths that the team have. When I lack an area, I know who I can go to. And I think sometimes when you identify these strengths within your team, it allows for growth because you start delegating, and you start to these qualities of feeling gratitude of having them do this kind of work for you. I think it was the biggest thing for me to just let go of some of the stuff that I just knew I didn't have the power to do. So I would say what I had to do is foster, and I use this word, foster, this learning agility that I had to bring about, of practicing these experiences and the effort that I had to put into learning. And so for me, that's been the biggest thing about being a leader, as a female lead in dancing, but also then being having some form of leadership in helping less is more grow. And I know there's a lot more around this because there's a lot to do with influencing and delegating the work and making sure that you're communicating is very, very extensive. And I think what led me up to all of this is the fact that I'm a big empath. And I think I can relate to a hell of a lot of women on every scale out there. And that's important. I think these values that I have, these qualities that I have is something I love, and I keep fostering that learning as well. And I think that's the key thing for me, is that to keep on learning. There is something innately about female leaders that is a lot better than men, because historically, if you see men leading in leadership, I've noticed, right, there's been that old school mentality, dictatorship, right? Whereas I think about 30, 40 years ago, we started having women who came into leadership. And then all of a sudden, it was like this big thing about, women in like almost like three-piece suits, two-piece suits, and that, short hair, and trying to be a man boss. It wasn't the case. I feel like we can keep our femininity within being a leader and still aspire to getting what I would say moving forward for growth. So I wanted to start with that, but I think there's an important question I wanted to throw out to everybody out there, so you're involved, is, what, there's two parts to this. One is what qualities do you bring as a female lead to your whole persona, and do we need more female leads? But while you guys start to type this as the audience, it would be lovely to hear from all of you, because I think when I'm looking at this, we've got some fabulous people on here. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all have to say. But I'm going to pass it over to Ami, who will talk about her journey as a female lead. And then I believe she runs Leading Ladies. So as a leader within that group, I'm going to pass you over to Ami.
Thank you, Neelam. I'll tell you flat on your face that I'm a follower. Okay, I love following. It's the only time I get to have the mental vacation of not thinking, what am I going to do next? So trust me, when one of the reasons why I started Leading Ladies project is because I love following so much, and I wanted more leads, more women to start leading, so that they get the perspective of the leads and become better followers themselves. Because once you step into the shoes of leading, your entire perception towards your idea, your feeling towards the dance changes in a, from me to the other person, right? So it always increases the communication, the connection that we all love so much about kizomba. It's end of the day, kizomba is dancing. Partner dancing is communication between the lead and the follow. So when the follower starts leading, she is naturally able to communicate better. Yeah. So that's how and because in India, I mean, obviously when I started the Leading Ladies project, I did face quite a bit of a flack because in India, we don't have too many women on the dance floor. So there are actually more men, and the gender ratio is very askew. And when we have more, so we already have lesser women on the dance floor who are doing the follows. So now if I'm trying to encourage more women to start leading, obviously I'm gonna, annoy a lot of people. So, but then I had to clarify that also with the Indian social conditioning, women, they're generally not very instantly comfortable to dance so close with strange men all of a sudden, So, but rather, if there are a couple of women leads on the dance floor, I have noticed that they can walk up to a newbie, a new female on the dance floor who's just come to just a party, and we walk up to them, we can ask for a dance, and they generally say yes, and they generally then start liking the dance form, which they think that, okay, it's not about just men and women touching and feeling each other up, it's also a nice dance. And women leads on the dance floor, it's a chain reaction of how women leads will become the icebreakers for future women followers, and they encourage more, the number on the dance floor starts getting better. And I've personally seen that. I've been running my parties for the past 2 years now, my Saturday nights. And when I started, there were like 5 followers on the night and maybe 20 leads. All right, 5 followers and 20 leads. But now I am like, I'm going to be very proud about it, because I run an all women crew, my DJ is a female, my host is a female, I am the one who's running, or the organizer is a female, and we have quite a few girls who are leading on the dance floor. That has made encouraged a lot more women to come in, and my parties right now are one of the few places in India where the gender ratio is like equal number of men and women. And I have noticed that across India, anywhere else where there are more women leaders of the community who are running the parties, who are running the events, the gender ratio has naturally been better there. And so at the end of the day, if you have more women leaders in the community, I think for the greater good of the community, it does better for the men also. It does better for the leads as well, not just female, for the male leads as well, because you end up getting more followers. And of course, in Europe and all the other countries, it's the gender ratio is the other way around. So, it always helps that you don't want to sit out your favorite songs if you know how to lead. So that was the idea with which I started Leading Ladies project. But, honestly, I never really saw myself as leading. I was really forced into leading because I started teaching. But inherently, I'm a follower. I love following. But these are the reasons which I've put it to practical use and seen the difference, what it could do over a span of time. Over to Martha, maybe, what would you like to say? We've got some comments. Would you like to take them up?
Yeah, we've had some pretty good comments in here. One of the first ones that I want to point out is we have a gentleman on that wanted to talk about the men following, and I think that's great. So, I mean, I was going to touch on this later when I talk about my journey into leading and leading, classes and things here. But I think it's really important for both sides to learn. And as Chiquita said, it's a really, really important thing to share the leading and follow aspects with both sides. Because now, as we have, differences in gender roles, we want to make sure that we're not alienating anyone or making anyone feel uncomfortable. So I think that having male follows and having female leads is very important. We have several ladies in our community here that lead, and we have a number of males that have actually started to follow as well. And I think it really makes you such a well-rounded dancer because you understand both sides. So let's see. I don't want to scroll too much. Let me see. We have a lot of comments, which is great. So thank you to everybody for joining, and put in there where you're from, because I see some people from Colombia. I know there's some people from Detroit. I see people from London, of course, and I see some India representation. So yeah, let's see. What else?
Martha, I think Lindsay Maria's got a really good comment.
Lindsay always has great feedback. She's one of our students, so I was gonna wait for hers. But I think it's Marie Sharon McKay. She said that she doesn't lead and dance at all, but in other areas of life she does. And I think that's really important, because a lot of people are able to take their abilities from the dance floor and use them in real life. And we've talked about this before in some of our other lives. And I think that that's really, really important. And it does help you become a better communicator. That's true. She also said that. She also made that comment. So Lindsay, thank you for joining. Lindsay always has amazing feedback, and she's a very good communicator. So her comment is, female leads help create a safe space and work to correct the uneven ratio between leads and follows. I think that those generally female leads are also able to pick up leading quickly once they already know how to follow, because they have an idea of how to lead certain moves already. So I think female leads, or any lead who knows how to follow well, are also unique in their ability to take care of, communicate, and adapt to their follows. And that, yes, amen. Okay, because I always tell the ladies that want to learn how to lead, I would prefer for you to have a very solid foundation in your following before you start leading, because we know exactly what we're supposed to be feeling, right? We know what it's supposed to look like. So that is very, very important. And as an instructor, I mean, we have to encourage people to really be grounded in their foundation before they start taking on other things, right? Let's see.
This is very exciting. While you're looking for another comment, Martha, we've got people from Norway, New York, Colombia. This is fabulous. Thank you so much, people. Thank you.
We have also people watching us on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I don't know who's following the YouTube comments. I'm not looking at the YouTube comments.
I'm receiving comments.
Okay, so Ruth is asking.
We're gonna need another person just to follow the other platforms. But
Ruth asks, which city in India? Ruth Matangi asks me, which city in India? Ruth, I'm based in Chennai, so that's where I'm on my Saturday nights. And I've got so many of my friends watching. My husband is watching.
Hi. This is amazing. Paula, is it possible you could put the question up while Marta takes over for the comments? Can you put the question up one more time as well?
Of the contest?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So that's our question for the contest, and the prize again is the mug, the hand-painted mug with the lady on it. It says less is more. It's really pretty. I think for the next live, we're all going to have one. So Nikita also, made mention about being an instructor and needing to know both sides. It's true. You can't teach any genre without knowing both sides. You need to be well versed in both. So I think, I agree with Nikita, with Ami. I think all of us that have experience in leading and following and are instructors it's really important to know both sides, because you need to be able to answer questions for both. I'll talk about my journey. That's exactly why I learned how to lead, because we had an uneven ratio, which is very normal. And I think that has really helped improve the lead follow ratio. And I won't say male female, because it's very, you can look at any of our socials and see that, there's more, I guess, sharing of the responsibility, right, for leading. But I learned Semba when I was in high school, I'm going to date myself. My mom went to U of M, and it's a huge international community here. And she had a very, very good friend from Angola. And we would get together and have, the traditional foods and the music and the dancing. And there weren't any classes here at the time. So when they started teaching, I was like, oh, I want to go. And it was really interesting because it was a little bit different. But I felt like I wasn't learning enough. And so I started to learn how to lead. And I would spend hours in my kitchen with a broom. And that was my partner. And I'd be like, okay, I got to get the feet, but I got to keep my frame. And so I taught myself how to execute properly with a broom. And one of the things that we do with our students is to go ahead and encourage them to practice with a broom or use a pillow or a big stuffed animal or something that's going to make you maintain your frame, right?
Something that doesn't talk back.
Exactly. That's the only thing. They can't give you feedback on whether you're doing it right. But that kind of, led into being able to teach and starting with small groups and organizing socials or having small get-togethers, taking turns at someone's house and practicing. And that's really how a large portion of our community started to grow. Our classes were once a week, and sometimes I had one student and I'm like, oh, you get a private today. And sometimes we had 10. And so over the years, it's really just taken off. And I'm really happy that I've been able to provide both perspectives to our community because I think it's really important just to be able to switch back and forth, right? And it's been difficult because it's really hard to grow a community, as everybody on here knows. It's hard to get something started, especially with the stigma that sometimes comes along with teaching Kizomba and the misrepresentation that we have on platforms like YouTube or Instagram, where the dance is misrepresented and over-sexualized. So that's been difficult to really try and grow the community and pull from other genres that may understand a little bit better once they see this is Kizomba, this is Semba, and then they understand exactly what it is that we're trying to teach. So I started a team here in Detroit a few years ago and started having an annual event. Our 4th year would have been this year. So next year, post-COVID, it'll be our 5-year anniversary, and I'm really excited. I started it by myself and had a lot of support from our community here. And now I have a partner, and so we're able to do a lot more. And I think that that's really helped us. And he follows, and I lead, and we have students that follow, and ladies that lead. So it's really exciting to see that change. But it's very challenging. And one of the things, so we've talked about, or we had a question up about what qualities you need to have. And I think one of the qualities that you need to have is that you need to be really patient with yourself. And one of the things that I'm always stressing in class is be patient with yourself and be patient with each other, because it's not easy to learn anything new. And it's not easy to master anything either. So I think that's something that's a quality that we need to have. And we also need to be very organized because I think we need to be able to remember what our community looks like and what the level is, and you have to be very organized in remembering the different learning styles that all of your students have. So I have a tendency to get into way more technical stuff earlier than I should. And I know that's I think that's just part of my personality, because I'm an analyst and that's what I do for a living. So I'm like, I got to break it down and tell you, that way you can be perfect at it. And so I need to always remember that and kind of hold it back. And that's something that I've been working on personally. So those are just some qualities that I think are important. I'd love to hear from the group and from our audience as to what they feel. And yes, we do need more female leads, and we need more male follows as well. It means a better dancer, 100% all the way around.
Okay,
We
well,
have
we've established that we need more female leads, but I want to go over to Paolo. I mean, just before we go on to any more comments, because Paolo does something very interesting as well, and I just want her to be able to share that how she runs her amazing artistic soul group and what she does in classes. Please go ahead, Paolo.
Okay. First, for me, the like, why did I started my project artistic, as I call it, artist souls, just like an initiative to exchange culturally through the arts with everyone. And then since I was wherever I was traveling or living, I was just promoting that. Now that I am here, for some reason, I think just my personality always brought me to particular groups, and it became kind of my passion. I mainly work with women and with particular communities. So I found, but I was not really looking for them, but I think I was just taking. It was just attraction, I think, and I normally work with. I have been working with pregnant women, and it's one of the first groups that I came to work with, both in Colombia and here, and in South Africa. And I found it really very nice. I started actually my first path of Kizomba teaching on with pregnant women, and it was very interesting. It was a part of uh, early stimulation and wellness exercise for them. And I found it that I was also very creative, and so I started to create choreographies with them, and they were really very good response. Um, then I continue my journey, but I think I love working with women, and I am very good at doing choreographies. And I found that it's a blessing because I, being a foreigner, sometimes living in a country out of my home, I found acceptances from some communities or some groups or even schools where I live, and they bring like a kind of bridge that brings me close to the people here, and they have opened the doors for me, and I have been able to create to bring women from everywhere and make little choreographies or demos with them, and I find it actually quite. That's how, let's say, like how I started this leading way on on leadership, let's say. But in the dance leading, I started, and today is very coincidence that the person that told me for the first time on leading Kizomba is having her birthday today, and it was true. It was with a woman that I learned how to lead. And I have found in my own experience that no, really, unfortunately, I didn't really find yet a man that wanted to teach me or was willing to teach me to lead. So I found in South Africa here also somebody in a city in Cape Town that she's quite good, and I continue the learning with her. I continue also with Amrita, that she's part of our team, and it has been really good. It's in Colombia when I started leading Kizomba. The main reason was because um, in Colombia there is this culture a bit. We don't really ask too much to a man to dance, and since the rate, like we mentioned before, the percentage of leaders on dancing is lower, so there were many people seated, and sometimes it was including me before, and I was not really able to dance. There were not really many people leading, so that was probably the main reason that I started on that. And then some few years ago, I started to realize, and I like it to have to hear the feedback of the followers telling me that they were comfortable, that sometimes they could feel even better, that we could feel maybe a little more the in lead, because we were also in the side of the follower. So like Marta mentioned, it is good to really build a strong base of following, and before becoming a leader. And I think that's very is a really boost for you to make you a good leader, because you already you have been in the shoes of the follower, and you know how to probably flow and connect. But like I agree also with Amrita. Being a follower, it's what it brought me the love and feeling that beyond myself dancing, it was my soul. And I love following is because I can close my eyes and I can just flow. And but I think being from the both sides, it has different experience, different enjoying. And I think also when apply for personal life, we always are both. We have both sides. We can be followers and leaders. It depends on the circumstances of our life, and that's a really good balance.
Thanks, Paula, for sharing for sharing that. I think I want to go over to all of us have had really amazing experiences, and I'm so glad that we're able to share with each other and with the rest of the group and our audience. I would like to bring up a comment from Christina James here in the U.S. I think you are in California, correct? I can't remember. So Christina made a comment about having the fellow's perspective. A fellow's perspective and women's perspective in the dance community is crucial for a healthy community for everyone. So let's discuss. How does this make it, how does it make it different, and why is it crucial? Unmute, let's talk.
Where's Christina's question, folks?
Her comment was a fellow's perspective and a woman's perspective in the dance community is crucial for a healthy community for everyone.
There's one that she made before this. She said, we need more female leaders, whether they lead on the dance floor or not.
Yes. So too bad we can't come together.
Christina James, it's always a pleasure to have you on our live. You come up with some really important questions, and there's so many good stuff coming out there as well. But I just want to touch on what Christina's talking about. Do we need more female leaderships? I think so. There is something that that's very intuitive of women, which is about the empath side of them and how much they can tune into helping a woman and their weaknesses, or even elevating more of their strength. So yes, we do need more female leaders. Who do we talk to? Which prime minister do we need to speak to make this happen? Because I'm seriously considering I should just go for MP here in London. Get out of the way, Boris. So you know what I mean? We do need more of that. Now, in terms of perspective for me personally, about what makes a healthy dance scene, and how the terms of the lead and the follow perspective, it is important. I know that at some point I did it. It wasn't the big thing for me to get both the sides, but at one particular time I've done a couple of workshops about getting the guy to actually be a female responder. I'm not going to call it lead and follow. Maybe that's a really thing. I think we need to change our wording. There's lead and follow, but that's the terminology that's been used by Europe. But if we can change the whole descriptor to say initiator and responder, that's something we could think about. So for guys being the responder and a woman initiating that particular dance, I think it's really interesting, because it does give it does help guys and ladies to really appreciate the holistic view of the dance in itself. And then I know there's lots of other threads that we can cover, like the musicality, the wording of the songs, and so on. And there's lots of things that you can encompass within that. But yes, it's definitely important that we should have more of this perspective. And I think there is quite a lot. Recently, in the last, 6 years or so, I've seen a lot of people now doing more workshops around from the guys and the woman's perspective and crossing over on both paths, and that's always useful. In fact, I think there's lots of guys who tend to lead other guys, and there's lots of girls that are leading other girls, and I think historically that's been quite nice for Kizomba to see these videos coming out. But
it's also in salsa and bachata also. It's becoming more and more popular in salsa and bachata also.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, and I think when you're the other thing I think about the quality of a female lead is the way we address a situation. So if there is something that we're not finding is going correct, the way I have approached it has been a little bit more sympathetic than the way a guy would approach it. And therefore, it makes it a lot more easier to give feedback, and sometimes critical feedback, especially when I've done some private workshops where you've had to give the person some kind of a feedback. And it can be quite trying. But the idea is that we're getting someone to a level where you want them to be a competent dancer. And that goes with trust. And I think that's another thing that we need to look at as a female lead, is that innately we're more trusting, right? We get to let them appreciate that we are coming from a place of wanting to enjoy the dance, wanting to teach the dance, but with a level of accuracy if we can. And not to say that the men are not doing that. There are some wonderful male lead initiators out there as well who do a great job too. So Christina, I've really enjoyed your question, but I can see that we're getting flooded with so many questions. So I'm going to go back to Marta, because Marta's our one who's trying to look at all the
so I want to highlight so Christina started off with saying that we needed more female leaders, and then Tony Peterson made a comment about, she asked a question: have you already talked about female organizers and the difference in their events and the ones organized by men? Also, the quality of females who teach alone. So I think these are two really, really big topics that I think all of us and our audience can relate to and probably have a pretty good opinion to share. Go ahead, Ami.
Yeah, I'll actually share something which is my personal experience. I did not really have an intention to become a female organizer. I was just happy to be a teacher, or just kind of an enabler of my own little group. There was never an intention to organize parties or events or anything like that. But there's this person in my city who's been organizing partner dancing or Latin dance events for the past, say, about 20 years or so. And he's literally the godfather of the dance community. And now in my city, there used to be parties every day, and they were run by individual dance schools. All of them were male instructors and male organizer-run events. So this godfather person, he comes to me and he says, this is when I just started out with my dance school, and he comes and tells me, listen, I'm tired of all these men running the events on all days of the week. I'm going to give you one of the venues and you take it over and you start it off. I'm like, I have zero experience in organizing. I don't know what to do. He's like, don't worry, you'll figure it out. But I'm sure you're going to at least balance out this organizing ability of where there are 5 parties which are run only by male dance school owners, and there's just I became like suddenly the person who was the only female organizer in my city. And actually, because the male dance school owners were running the events for a very long time, they obviously had a lot of politics and competition between them. But when I came in, my party and my event started becoming a complete neutral zone. And I received such massive support, and I'm immensely grateful for that all the male dance teachers, their dance schools, and everybody started coming and participating in my event, because, my place felt a very neutral zone, free of politics, free of competition between each other or any place. And that was kind of a game changer in my city. And I got lucky, I would say. I really got lucky. So yeah, definitely. I think the guy who handed me over an opportunity to become a female organizer or a female leader in my local dance community did see the way that he did understand that definitely having a female organizer would be a lot different or a lot more harmonious or a lot more neutral compared to all the male organizers, I guess. So that's something which he saw in me, and that's why he handed it over to me. And he was like, I couldn't hand it over to anybody else because there weren't any female organizers earlier, or there weren't any female teachers or dance school owners, or even if they did were there, they wouldn't want to have the burden of organizing as such.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, what we were talking about, the qualities, right, of a female lead, not just in dance, but as a leader overall, that organization, right, and that ability to share your passion with others so that you are inviting and bring them in and make them feel comfortable. I think that's really important. Paula, have you had experience that you want to share in Colombia or in South Africa?
The organizing? Well, I have actually, yes, there are experiences that I know as a female leading. I don't want to be biased but they have been actually very good events in place. In Colombia, for the case, in beginning of Kizomba, for instance, it was brought by a woman. And she has been kind of like important in the sense that the organization of the events has been initiated by somebody like her and follow it. And actually, I sometimes see that the organizations still are still very balanced in the sense that there is no always collaboration of men input, and there is always also the need of having both men and women in the team. Even if an organization is led by a woman, there is always there is a need of balance of both men and women, because they continue to be leaders, and even in life experience, I think it's just a natural balance of the things. But yeah, that's somehow what I.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true, because all of us have different qualities, right? So our strengths and our weaknesses can balance each other out. That's a conversation I often have. We all have to do our
on two comments that I was reading. I just came to my attention two comments of Lindsay Marie.
Mm-hmm.
She mentions calling it initiating and responding would change the whole mindset and approach with the two roles. And then there is Terry McLaughlin, that she says, I taught an online class, not for Kizomba. We were talked about the importance of playing and the active player, creating a space and allowing for the creative input of the passive player. It went down well. These two comments are mentioning words that normally I think, like they say, open doors and make it easy for females to lead and for the awareness of this concept to be more accepted. Because when we talk about gender, maybe it's not well understood, but when we talk about leader and follower, whenever we both at certain point initiating and responding, passive player and active player, I find them really kind of positive language to express that we just discussing now, right?
Yep. And that's good to go into another comment from Folly Golding, where yeah, the comment was, it would be good if we had more classes where men follow and women lead, then it would benefit all and make Kizomba a social dance as it was originally. Yes, I mean, and we've talked about that. And Riquita has also made some comments about, and other people about classes that they've done or workshops that they've taken where they reverse the roles. And I think that that's really important. I know that we, in our beginner classes, we have everybody do the same thing on both sides of that they learn, you know, what it's supposed to be. And I think, you know, because it doesn't matter if you're leading or following, your fundamentals are your fundamentals. So I'd like to share about the difference in events being led by men versus women. Number one, from my experience, I feel that a lot of events that have been led by women have a greater representation of women, of course, as instructors, whether they're working by themselves. And someone had made a comment about how women, if we've talked about the women that teach by themselves. And I think all of us have been there, right? We've all taught by ourselves for a period of time, whether you have a partner or not. Sometimes you have to teach by yourself. But I think that overall, the representation of women is greater, number one. I think that sometimes the actual naming convention of classes, of workshops, is better because it's not sensual kizomba or a focus on tarashia or styling. I really do not like when people put kizomba styling or some, you know, styling under kizomba, because no, it doesn't belong. It's about your body movement. So I think that's one of the big things that I've noticed that I have enjoyed, is that the names of the workshops are a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, so I think also that the ratio, the lead and follow ratio, is a little bit better, just because I think we work a little bit harder. And I don't know if you guys have I know everybody has noticed. I mean, like, anytime that you go to a festival, the thing is, oh, a lead pass or a ladies pass and a men's pass, and the ladies passes are sold out, but they don't think about the fact that some of the ladies are actually leaders, and that we want to do both. I mean, I love leading. I will lead all night long if I have to. I want to follow, but I love leading too. So, I mean, I'll do both. And if you have ladies and men that both lead and follow, then I don't think that they should be, you know, restricting the number of passes that they sell. I think that organizers need to do better overall with that, but that's a totally different discussion. Lindsay said, female organized led events also provide teaching content that focuses on follows, where other classes can be very lead focused. Yes. So I think that that's another topic that goes back to teaching by yourself, right? If you're teaching by yourself, then you, as a woman, then you have to be clear in teaching both sides, right? And so the content is going to be more even than when they're focusing on the artist that is a male, where he's going to dominate the class and not really let the follow, even if it's just an assistant, even if you just have an assistant, whether you're leading or following, like that assistant should be able to provide feedback. If they're good enough to be your assistant, then they're good enough for them to have a voice during the workshop, right? And say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, or this is what I'm doing as a follow, instead of trying to figure it out. And then you have everybody, you know, doing the crow neck here, trying to figure out exactly what the follow is doing. I've been in way too many workshops in that. So
some really good, interesting points there. Thank you so much for that, Marta.
Could go on for a long time today.
Yeah, this is really, really good points here. And I was just picking up on what some of these comments that are coming out there, because I know obviously Marta's in charge of comments today. But I find it, if you don't mind, I mean, there was something Debbie Wiggs has just said around, I have found if I take the role of a leader in a class, being delivered by a female is more readily accepted than if I take that role in a class being delivered by a man. It's an unspoken vibe. I like that part, unspoken vibe. I have felt that now stops me taking a lead role in a class if a male is teaching. And is that because there's a form of comfort in that, Debbie, subconsciously, that there's a form of kind of a comfort knowing that there's another female who's actually kind of like gel with you a lot better than a guy. I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to hear what your thoughts are when
really
you talk about the
interesting.
unspoken vibe part of
Yeah,
it.
that's really interesting because I think, the community worldwide, the dance community is changing so much, and, they're more open and receptive to the switch of the roles, right? But I'll be honest, like for me, I don't care who's teaching. If I want to take it as a lead, it doesn't matter the genre. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to let anybody intimidate me, but I know that that's my own that's my personality. So I'm going to take it regardless. But it's interesting. I can see where she's coming from, but I haven't had that experience. Paula.
I have the experience, and it was a bit intimidating, I have to confess. But I kind of challenged myself to cope with it. And because I kept telling, there was one opportunity that I was leading, and it was intimidating because it's like you really feel it sometimes. Not everybody would see you. She's leading, okay, but it was basically myself that at some point I decided, no matter how, to go ahead and then still try to challenge that intimidating feeling that I was having. And so I feel what Debbie is saying. It sometimes can happen. Not everybody will be so open at this point yet. But I think we need you, as if you keep on your confidence, and it's super rewarding, and the satisfaction that you feel like, okay, I did it, and no matter what, I was sweating at the end, but I did it.
Ami, I know that you have had some experience too. Why don't you share that with us?
Yes, it was I understand what Paula is coming from. It was very humiliating. It was one of the master classes in one festival in Pune a couple of years back. And in fact, I was one of the promoters of the festival, and I was in a pretty good position back then. And then, so obviously my local community, they knew and understood, at least my friends and even all the students or the attendees of the workshop, they understood why I was leading. But this extremely famous Angolan instructor, very famous Angolan instructor, and he
So
had...
have everybody guessing now, Amy. Everyone's going to start guessing and saying, can you tell me their name? And I don't blame them.
So there was me and another teacher, another female lead. She still teaches in Hyderabad. So we both were leading in the class, and he goes on like he's pissed off. He's angry because, like I said, in India there are lesser followers and more leads. And he was really angry that why me and that other girl were leading the class. So we even said that, we will switch whenever needed. But we would like to lead because, we also teach. And he said, I don't care what you do. In my class, you're going to follow. And that's what I say you're going to do. That means you do it. And we were like, it was so embarrassing and humiliating for both of us, because at least in our local community, we weren't known as teachers, and somebody as big as him making a statement like that was pretty damn insulting. And I did tell the organizer about it, but hell yeah, no, nobody does anything about it because he's powerful, he's the guest, he's the star of the event, so
that word. It just riles me that he is powerful. Why do we give so much a pedestal to instructors, whether they've taught at festival or whether they've
worship culture.
Yeah, it's a worship.
You know what? I think we will do a topic on this. We will do a topic on this about worshipping your instructors. Do not worship your instructors. We've all been there. But I want to pick up on what Tone has said. Can we get Tone's message up? Because that's a very exciting one, Tone. Thank you so much. And it's wonderful to have you with us. I keep saying it's wonderful to have so many people with us. And we'll try and get through to all of you as much as we can. Again, we're very mindful about time. It could be a 2-hour session just to make you all aware if we want to get through this, because it's all very exciting stuff. So where's Tone's comment? Because I'm lost in all of this.
I'll read it off for you while we get it up. It says,
Awesome.
have you experienced that men are afraid to ask you to dance because you lead? I have.
Absolutely. For the longest time. And they've made it really clear once I've had a conversation. I'm pretty approachable. So when they do approach me, they don't ask me to dance, but they just kind of have like a half an hour conversation about how intimidated they are to ask me. And I would say this time and time again to every guy out there, please, I am not there to assess you. I want to have a great night and I want to dance too. So please just ask me. We'll have a great 3 minutes. We'll have a great couple of songs. It's all about the enjoyment of the dance floor. And this is something that perhaps, you know, having those conversations when we're teaching, when I've taught, I've always made that really clear to the guys and the students, when I'm out there publicly dancing, is to say, look, you know, we know our stuff. Yeah, we get it. We've had years of experience as leading, initiating the dance, but we also would like to enjoy the dance, and we're not there. We have this kind of hat on when we're teaching, and that hat comes off when we're dancing socially. Well, for me, it does anyway. And should anybody want to ask at that point that they want feedback, yeah, clearly we can give you that if it's asked of us. Otherwise, I think personally, a lot of the female instructors that I've had conversations with, we all say the same thing: we just want to dance. We just want to have a really good time, you know. We just want to be out there enjoying it when we can as well. So that's a really, really good point that you brought up, Tone. So yes, it does happen, and clearly, you know, how we address it is so important. More than pulling it out all the time, is just pretty much making sure that we've said those bits. But have any of you girls experienced that you are, you know, get less dances socially because you're an instructor? I know I've had less dances instructor. Some festivals I get more.
Not because of being an instructor, but because of leading. Or this is another really good topic. I mean, we could have a whole nother session on this, but because a lot of people are intimidated because you are an instructor, because your picture's on the poster, or because you're renowned with the people, even if you're not on the flyer and you show up and they're like, oh, she's a teacher, they're not going to ask you to dance because they're intimidated. And so I go and ask a lot because I'm like, I don't want to just stay here. Come on, just because I teach doesn't mean anything. Everybody's going to give me a different experience. And you know, you guys talk about this, but after you're done with this comment, I wanna go to this question about the men encouraging female leads and leaders. There's a lot of comments here that are touching on a lot of really good subjects that I think that we can summarize and try and address a point from every person that has commented. So I'll let you, Ami and Paula, respond.
So which one are we taking
Have
out?
you lost dances because you're an instructor or because you lead?
Oh, yeah. I think it comes from the same place of worship culture, because they place the instructors at a pedestal that they're unapproachable, and then you end up getting not many dances. And I really don't mind dancing with any level of leads. And like I said, I love the mental holiday. I love following, because that's the only, women being experts of overthinking, that's the only time that we're not thinking. So, you know, I'm definitely, I love following that way. But yes, because we lead and because we're instructors, I can see why men leads would hesitate to ask you for a dance, even if it's as a lead or as a follow. Very interestingly, I've had after I started leading, there were few men who asked me if I could lead them, who wanted to try out following. And that was very interesting. And we're like, wow, this is good. Because I had done, like Rikita said, you know, even I do a lot of role reversal workshops in festivals. I'm known for that here. So, you know, so they were like, okay, we attended your workshop. It was very interesting. Can I follow you? And I found that extremely sweet and very nice. So I think that also covers that are the men encouraging female leads and leaders. Of course, there are men like that. I have a guy in my dance school, Harini's husband, who even was a part of the Jinga flash mob. He was the only guy who did the Jinga flash mob. I was the only with a male tail of 𝒍𝒂𝒂𝒍𝒆. He's there in all of my Jika classes and even the ladies following classes. And in my class, if I have lesser women, like the general issue in India, he's there following. And he and Nagu and there are a couple of other guys that I can mention there, who generally substitute themselves as follows in the class. And that has made them better dancers. So
it's safe to say then that it does happen, but like I said, it's how you handle it. But just thank you very much, Amrita. Just going over to Paula, have you had an experience where you felt that the guys have been intimidated to dance with you, or even asked you to dance?
Yeah, not only because of I am an not only because of the fact if they know that I am a leader, but just because of that I am instructor. Yes, I have noticed that, and I can feel the anxiety or maybe nervous or anything. But yeah, I try as normal as I can, just feet to ground. Something interesting that in that sense on the when we comes to dance that Rita was talking that I find really cool, that really nice. My husband doesn't really dance or before I met him, but it's very cool how when after I learned how to lead, I could manage to make him lead me, even without him notice that he was following, leading me, but I was the one who was making him. So it's a nice way because I managed to dance with him, and even though if I was kind of leading him subliminally, but something that I learned through that role of leading, to get close and kind of use my husband as a guinea pig, for instance. And it's also, I have noticed in classes, something curious. When you are not, like for instance, me, when recently I came here, people wouldn't have too much knowledge about me, so they wouldn't know, and then they would come up to discover when on the dance floor, oh, you are quite good, or you dance very well, and then actually it was well received in a positive way, and I in that sense it's good to know to be more how can I say it, common at some point, because it brings me close to people, any people, even beginners, and I love dancing with them because it's a great opportunity to and it's a great group that normally accepts very well and like it and enjoy being teach how to lead.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent. This is wonderful. I'm very mindful that we've got so many comments, and we do want to get through them. We will get through them, and I will leave that to Marcia. But I want to bring up, because we've talked a lot about female lead, but let's talk about leadership. Now, Paola, if you can get this up, I want to see if I can read it out, about leadership. Some of the stuff that we looked at, what makes a good leader, a good female leader as well. So do you have that anywhere?
Yeah, just keep talking, and I'm looking for it right now.
So I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking about this. So we're going to be looking at the leadership qualities out there. And what we did is we kind of put a lot of measures together. What makes a good a person lead a team, or lead a workshop, to lead a company, to lead an event, to lead a festival. What brings those qualities about for someone? And maybe this is something that you guys can take away. Maybe you have something to tell us that we missed out on our list when it comes up. I'm hoping it will come anytime soon, because I'm kind of thinking I need that list in order to know what I'm talking about right now. So it should be coming out anytime soon. Here we are. The 17. Thank you very much, Paola. Thank you. So I've come up with 17, right? And I'm sure there's plenty more out there. But 17 reasons why women make great leaders. Now, everybody, I'm sure you can read this, but I'm going to try and go through this as quick as possible. So we put down, they value work-lifestyle balance. Okay. They are empathetic. I think that's just a big one, isn't it? That we're all pretty empathetic. I find that a lot. I mean, for all the times that I've actually been out there, and I've had the difference between the female leads is the fact that they are so empathetic. They are great listeners. Okay, so this whole listening idea, this active listening, is very crucial for all of us as well. The other thing, they are nurturing. Okay, I'm not. I mean, I'm kind of nurturing, but I think that's probably more mummy thing. But if it's out there, that's all good. They focus on teamwork. That's a really important thing that I've noticed, that when we are working as a team, and what does that mean is like making sure that everybody is thriving for the same thing, that they have the same vision, that they have the shared idea of where it is that they all want to be. They're good at multitasking. I'm actually not really good at multitasking, to be honest. I even find this hosting really hard, but I'm getting there slowly. But yeah, apparently they're good at multitasking. They're motivated by challenges. I want to talk about these challenges for a minute, because I mean, over the time that I have led the company, or I've led workshops, or I've organized a huge night of dancing, I've never really seen those as obstacles. Neither have I seen them as so much as a challenge, but they've really been more of a case of an opportunity for me to learn and grow from them more than anything else, is how I feel about these challenges. And once I started getting my head around not feeling sorry for myself that this wasn't working, or how could I do that better, or why did that all go so wrong, it's just moving away from the fact that this is around looking at those challenges, that you want to call them, into opportunities for learning. So they're strong communicators. Yeah, just gonna say yes to that one. They dream big. Yeah, it's a really good one, right? We have big visions, and sometimes those visions are going to lead us to better opportunities out there. They handle crisis situations well. They can wear many hats. They check their egos. Now, this is a really interesting one. I don't know if we need a completely different live feed for checking in with our egos here, but this is a very interesting one. How do we make sure that other women are not jealous, that other women are not backbiting for the work that you're doing? This does happen. We've all had this experience. We've all had women who don't like to see another woman succeed. And why shouldn't we pat them on the back? Why shouldn't we bring them to the forefront? And this did happen to me, actually. I'm going to share a little story about somebody who decided it was okay to talk about me to somebody else who knew me very well. And it hurt me, because I thought that I'd given this person a huge opportunity to, and not take anything away from them, but just to make them feel that they were inclusive. But somewhere in this whole thing was, I must have not made her feel that she was included. Now, whether she came with preempt ideas of this, I have no idea. Whether someone had fed into her ego, I have no idea. But it was interesting, and I did, and I spoke to them, and I made it very clear how what they had said really hurt me, because I'd never in a million years would have thought that would come from them. And it was harsh, and it was cruel, and it was very downgrading. And so when we talk about these egos, we're also looking at handling the crisis situation here as well. So that's important as a leadership, is how am I handling this crisis so it doesn't occur again? You are lucky if you do get the opportunity to speak to that person. And 9 times out of 10, you don't know half the stuff that people are saying out there. But is that your focus? Not really. As long as I think you're doing what you're doing it with good intentions, with the right mindset, with a lot of love, with a lot of passion, and perseverance. There's nothing that you can't achieve on your own. And I think that should go globally to every woman out there. Don't be looking at somebody else and what they're doing unless you're thinking, how can I make or achieve that same level as them, or even do better than them? Those are more positive ways of challenging the situation. And so this is where we talk about high emotional intelligence, and I think that's a lot to do with learning agility here, about how we learn to look at and deal with situations here. Flexibility, yeah, lots of the times they lead by example. Yes, they make their jobs look effortless. I can tell you right now, it's hard work. But yeah, at the front, everyone just gets to see you on the screen. And girls, you can all vouch for that. We work hard on this, don't we? We work extremely hard on everything that we do, not only with Less is More, but our own stuff that we're getting on with. And it is freaking hard. And we work countless hours to make this happen. You just get to see this front bit, and we're happy that you do, because we want you to see the best side of it all. No one knows what's going on behind the curtain. You just want to see the ta-da, and that's what we provide. And they make their jobs look effortless, and they defy the odds. I want to go to Marta just on that last one about defying the odds. Well, have you got anything that comes to mind about defying the odds?
Yeah, I mean, we have challenges, and these are really great examples, right, of why we make good leaders. And a lot of these are also really great examples of areas that we can improve on as women, as leaders, as people, period, right? Because I know a lot of us are very driven by success, or driven by the fact that we want to defy the odds, right? It's really hard to make it in this world that we live in as a woman sometimes. It's very challenging because we have a lot of obstacles that are put in front of us. And 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒄𝒆 just made a comment like 1 minute ago, and it says, I always say that there are women's women and men's women. Men's women are those that champion men and are jealous of other women and will try to sabotage them at every turn. And this is true. This doesn't help us be successful. This doesn't help us be set up for success. It presents more obstacles for us because we work against each other. We turn against each other when we feel like we are not getting what we want, or we feel that we're getting the support that we deserve for the things that we've done. And I know that I'm guilty of self-sabotage because I feel this way, but I don't go out and make things bad for somebody else. It's something that I have had to internalize and work past, right? So we have to be able to accept the challenges that are presented to us. We have to take every mistake is an opportunity for us to learn. Just like in real life and on the dance floor. On the dance floor, you make a mistake, hey, you use that opportunity to turn it into something else, right? There's not anything that you can't pull a positive out of. Every learning opportunity that we have, we need to take advantage of it. Every opportunity, whether you are going to take the opportunity or not, we have to learn from it. We have to take something away from it. So yeah, it's very important. There is space for everyone. Yeah, there is space for everyone. And we do need to not belittle each other. We need to uplift each other, and we need to be just supportive. Because there's a lot of things that can hold us back. So we had another comment before. We had another question before about whether men were encouraging women to become leaders and men to become followers. And I think that is changing. There's been a few comments about different events that have happened that are concentrating more on women, like women take the lead. Christina, you just took the words right out of my mouth. We have been conditioned to go against each other. This is very true because we're supposed to remain loyal to our man or our instructor or whatever. And that pedestal that exists, those things, those norms, we have to be responsible. All of us have to take a step in the right direction. We all have a responsibility to make a change for these types of pedestals. In order to get these down, we all have to take baby steps, whether it's putting on events that are recognizing women or uplifting other women, whether it's in your community or another. Asking for equal representation and demanding to be recognized and paid for your craft, because we've all put in work and we all deserve to be paid equally. So, you know, all of these little things, if all of us take it on as a task, that knowing that it's going to make the situation better, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's next year or 5 years from now, all of us need to know that everything that we do is a building block, right? We're building towards making those changes. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so those are really, all the comments in here are really great, and they all
exactly. I want to know if there are any guys on our live. Are there any guys on our live? Because if they are, I want to know from them directly, guys out there.
We've had a few on there.
Well, there's few. Whoever those few are, can I ask? Do you guys like it that we lead? You know, when females lead a class, do you guys, you know, are you happy with the way we teach? Do you think?
No, I think another thing, and I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but I think another thing is with the guys, when they ask you to lead, I know I'm being tested. I'm like, oh, I got
well, let's get some honesty out here. Let's get some honesty out here, guys. Tell us. We want to know. Let's have that open, honest discussion right here. Do we think that guys get a little bit upset when they rock into a workshop and see there's a woman teaching for the day? That's like
because Ami had her hand up, so
let's go to you. I'm so sorry about that. I was just trying to make sure that guys.
Sorry. Let's continue with what we have right now, because I was going to be touching on the previous one, that are women lifting other women. It's just a personal example that I have.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, please, let's go on to that one, because we're waiting for guys to come and comment. Well, we've got Phoenix is coming, but we'll go to him in a minute.
No, so there was this, again, a famous instructor, a teacher artist, who had made this, who was my mentor, and who had told me that you're going to be like, you've got potential, and I want you to be my teacher in India, you know, that sort of mentorship ideas he had given to me. And recently his partner, again, another famous person, and also we were having a chat, and then I was like, such and such person has big plans for me, and he's encouraging me to be his teacher, and blah, blah, blah. And then she went on saying just one point. I had really opened my eyes. She said, and she's the one who was actually has more experience working more personally with him. And she said just one thing, that, can I be honest with you, Amy? I said, yes, go on. Like, I didn't like the way that he said that you have to be my teacher in India. Does he think that you're not capable or good enough to be a good teacher or a big name by your own merit? I think you already are. Why does he have to think that you need his blessing or his hand over your head in order to be someone, or to be somebody influential? And that really hit me. I'm like, wow, that is something I did not think of, because this guy is such a big name, and I was like, wow, he values me, and he wants me to be his representative in India. That nothing could be better than that. And I was like over the moon, but then instantly I realized, and I think it took a woman to tell me that, and I think that goes on to show that women would look out for each other somehow. Women are encouraging each other to be on their own merit, rather than the 17 points that they had. They encourage other women to have leadership, empower other women to rather than me and myself and having the ego position that, no, you're going to be my representative or you're going to be representing my name in such and such place and blah, blah, blah. That's just something that, I've personally seen that women have been more encouraging in lifting other women leaders, at least as leaders.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's totally spot on. I think over the years, I've just seen a lot more women encouraging other women, but then there's a kind of a balance that there's lots of women who do not like what you're doing, and they prefer it that the guy does the leading in their workshops or their festivals. They want it to be like, it has to be black and white. The guy leads, the woman follows, and that's it. And that's okay. I mean, that's certain festivals out there. That's what they want to do. That's their rule of thumb.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, that's just something that's, change comes slowly, and as things change, those mentalities will change too. And they may not with some people, and that's okay. But all of us just need to be accepting and tolerant of difference. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I can say for all of us right now in this world. We all need to be tolerant of differences. Tolerant and accepting. That's the only thing that's going to make a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to move on. There's something I want to talk about that's come to mind around, I think Debbie's touched on around basics of leading, what level do you go in at? And do female leads have to be the ultimate expert when it comes to being a female lead in teaching and dancing? I mean, from my own experience, I don't think I know it all sometimes. I think I've got to a certain point and then I find there's something else that I need to be learning. And I think this is always going to be a constant journey, whether you're a female or a male, is to always keep seeking out the new methods, the how somebody else does it, or constantly learning and growing from that. I think that's equally important out there. But I want to ask, sorry, I know you have spoken, but I wanted to give Paola a chance to speak about this. That because you are now doing your lead in the some of the dances that you do out there as well. And how do you feel about that whole idea around what I just mentioned?
Can you repeat the question? I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah, sure. So do you know what I was just talking about? How when we've got the lead and we've got the follower, but sometimes we've got to look at our level. Do we need to be absolute experts in the field of what we're teaching? Or can we just keep an open space to say, well, actually, we need to go out there and learn more? We're always constantly learning. There's no just one method. Everyone's got different types of methods out there. What's your opinion?
Definitely, we keep learning, and I think it's actually good. And sometimes I think personally that is well seen that even as an instructor, you keep learning and you show that you keep learning, because sometimes it's a bit part of the proud, let's say, of some instructor, that they are afraid to show that, okay, they are learning, they keep continuing learning, because what are my students going to think? That I'm not in the level that they are expecting me to be. But every profession and every activity that we do, it always implies continue learning, because times are changing, are advancing. There are the new things always coming up, and like you say, that I started with very traditional kizomba, and then I explored into another fusion, and which gave me a lot of creativity that I enjoy putting in place. And so I definitely keep learning. Like I mentioned before, for instance, my leading process, I keep learning, and I used to consider myself whenever I used to come to the dance floor, do you want to dance with me? I'm going to lead you. Yes. And then I would lead in my kind of basic level, intermediate, and that's what I could offer. But I keep learning also with Amrita, for instance, now. And and I acknowledge and I am enjoying it because it's keeping discovering new things that I think, and I always believe everything that can add you something for you to get better and it's positive, then why not? So yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you so much for that, palette. Guys, you know we did a watch party on our walls, and it seems like some of those comments haven't reached the original page. There is someone who's wrote on my wall. If I can just quickly just go over this. This is Laura River. She goes, "It's iconic to me that female followers usually find they get asked less once they pass the intermediate level because of intimidation. Why high level male leads are almost hounded into constant dancing, whether they want it or not." And I just wanted to mention that because I don't know if any of you got comments on your own watch out there, but I've got quite a few, and I don't want them to feel that I've neglected them, having done this watch party. And then Folly goes on to say female leaders should make it obvious that they're leaders, especially at festivals, wear badges. Oh, Folly, that's interesting. Have any of you had a rejection when you have asked a lady to dance? Fabulous topic, ladies. Yeah, and one woman has said that to me. She goes, "I just don't like the whole breast on breast thing." And so I was like, "Don't worry, girl, it's fine.
Don't be afraid of squishing the boobs."
So Polly, it has happened to me a few times, and it's okay. You can just kind of respect that. And it was like, oh, I remember when I first started doing a lead on lead with a lead and follow with a woman and it was like, yeah, okay, all right, I need to get past this, and you do eventually. You do kind of like forget that they're there until you wear a bra and take it off.
We have a comment on Phoenix.
So yeah, thanks very much, guys. Your comments have been absolutely fabulous. I wanna ask any of you ladies in the team. Hello, lovely Paola, Ami, Amasa. Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap up? Because I know we got lots of comments, and I say this on every live now. If we don't get to your comments, please do not feel that we've neglected you. You can always keep on writing, and at some point, even after this live, we'll be happy to respond to it. Not a problem, okay? Not a problem. But ladies, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I just want to give a shout out to Christelle and Charlene. These girls are from Singapore and Malaysia, I think, and they stayed. It's pretty late in the night right now out there, and they stayed and they engaged. Thank you so much, girls. Hearts out to you. I know these girls are also beginner leads, and they have started trying out to lead. And one of the first ones who encouraged me that when I was leading, which is not seen very with very comfortable eyes here, but then they were amazing. Hey girl, we see you. And oh yeah, Charlene says it's 3:30 a.m. here.
Oh wow.
3:30. Hallelujah. Welcome. Or good night.
3:30. Can you imagine that? Yes. So that's all. So I think we're really sorry that we could not take all the comments. There are like so many of them, and thank you so much for engaging men and women together. And this is fantastic to hear everybody's perspective here. I had such amazing positive and negative experiences being covered here, and this is just great. I'm loving how this is all going. Rikita, thank you so much for engaging a lot. You had a lot of questions. I think we've got to do a lot of live based just on each of your single questions alone.
Okay, so over to you, Marta.
I just wanted to say that I think it's really important for all of us to remember to not take the rejection seriously. We're going to be rejected by both men and women for dances, whether you're leading or following, and don't take it like that. Just keep it, just everybody has a reason. It may be a rest, it may be your perfume or your smell or your hair or whatever. So don't take rejection so seriously. And when you're dancing, don't be afraid to take as if you're a beginner. Don't concentrate on the things that you know well, that you know or you think that you do right. Concentrate on being musical and trying experimenting new things, because remember, the way that you start the conversation with your follow or your lead, well, I guess your follow, because we're leading, but the way that you start the conversation with your follow is to slowly basic by basic, see where their skill level is at. And that tells you a lot about your leading level. So don't be
Absolutely.
discouraged and don't be afraid to step out. And
Thank
I
you
just
so
want
much,
to acknowledge
Martha.
the US team that's on here. I have people from our team, from our community, from the East Coast. And thank you for participating. I know that it's 2:00 it was 2:00 in the afternoon here when we started. So it's kind of in the middle of the workday on a Friday. But thank you. And also to acknowledge a comment that came in from Lindsay that teachers need to be students as well. Yes. Riquita can tell you a couple of other instructors that have been on our lives before. I will go and take beginner classes. Any class, I will go and take them. We definitely need to remember that there's always something to learn, and we are always going to be students. We'll be forever students. So
thank you so much for that, Martha. Thank you, hon. Over to you, Paula.
Well, yes, Marta almost covered, but yes, same message, similar to what Marta said. Don't take personal every time any issue that you have on the dance floor. It happens to everybody, and I'm sure almost everybody have went through that. And just keep going on and don't give up. Like somebody say, Phoenix Loom, he mentioned something, just a sentence, switch off and connect. Connect is important, even if you are as a leader or as a following. And easy yourself and relax, because it's about is yourself enjoying your dance and connecting to somebody that you are expecting that you will enjoy dancing with, either as a follower or as a leader. And yeah, thank you for watching us. Thank you for the few gentlemen. We hope to see more participating. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for everybody to be watching us even in India. So it's already Saturday for them.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Again.
Thank you,
Last
everybody.
chance for the
Thank
question
you.
to be answered.
Ladies, that's enough. Okay,
Oh, yes,
we
yes,
can
yes,
carry
there's
on.
something
We can carry on. I have to calm my girls down now, ladies. Zoop. Okay, we got lots to say. I think everyone's quite passionate about this conversation and this topic, and we could like everything. We could maybe make a part 2 on any of these topics, but they're wonderful stuff to say. So I just want to wrap up. And say goodbye to everybody who's participated. That's all the ladies, Paula, Ami, and Marta from Team Less is More. To all the audience out there, it's been fabulous. I mean, I can't go through all the names, but for the fact that you've tuned in, we thank you gratefully for being with us. I want to call it a wrap on this by saying something about less is more here. And what's interesting is we need to always think about what we say, what we do, and what we bring to the table. And I don't think that's necessarily just about less is more, but just any female, when you are doing something and you want to be able to execute or see yourself as an instructor or start doing something in leadership, is to know, well, what do you bring to the table? What is it that you are going to cultivate for everybody? And I reckon less is more is going in that direction. And I can honestly say, with hand on my heart, less is more. We are like anyone's equal, but we are nobody's superior. Okay, we are not superior from anyone else, but we come on an equal footing. And I think that's the beauty of what we've created. And I want to say thank you to everybody for that as well, which leads me on to nicely to just say something to you all, that we finally have got our PayPal link on our website, which is www.lessismorefoundation.com. So if you don't know why we do these lives and you don't know what Less is More is about, that we are doing an event next year in May in Lisbon from the 28th to the 30th. It's a 3-day, I call it a seminar, or you can call it a dance event. But we do a choreography with new and renowned artists. But we also have a whole day of a seminar. This is why we've taken over doing it on live, is that we're having those discussions now until we get to Lisbon next year. And that's so important. If you want to come and you want to attend and you love these kind of engaging conversations, then I think you should have a look at our website. I don't know if you've got the banner that goes underneath, Paula. If you can find it, that's fine. But it's www.less. Oh, there we are. lessismorefoundation.com. Have a look, browse around. It's a website that we've created, and it's very exciting. So if you do want to join us, now's the time to start booking. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'll all have the answers for you to join us. Now, you're going to get really excited about the next topic. Are you ready? Because on the 11th of September, for all the stuff that we've been talking about over the God-given months since lockdown and all these issues that we've encountered, we're going to cover a topic called red flags. Red flags, ladies. And we're going to be addressing gaslighting, narcissism, codependency, physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse. And we would love men and women to join this live because it's such an important conversation to have and open up those narratives for everybody else to speak about this. So tune in. It will be on the 11th of September, Friday. And we do advertise it. So join the Kizomba family page. I'm getting nervous about that one because it's a huge topic. I don't know how long that's going to go. I mean, we're almost wrapping up here on a 2-hour. That could go on for God knows how long. But we're prepared. We're prepared.
Ruth says it's going to be like a whole weekend of chat.
It could end up being it could be like a topic weekender, isn't it? The whole red flag. So tune in for that. So I want to do what we always do, ladies. Our love hearts out here, everybody. Oh, I love it. They're all prepared, and I'm like, I'm totally at a loss here. Thank you. One love to all of you ladies out there and all you guys out there who tuned in. We really, really appreciate this. I mean, if you could just tear open my chest and see my heart, I am so happy the way you guys all contribute to this. This is never an easy game, but we're totally committed to it, and we're learning from this, that we're also learning from this as well. So please support us, share our live, get people to follow Kizomba family. That's all we're asking, is that we're making some honest and meaningful changes. So we thank you once more from all of us. And we're going to sign out with a lovely song. So if you all want to stand up, if anyone's in the mood for dancing, get on up, because we're going to play this fabulous music. And don't forget the question. Yes, please. The question was about name the 5 Portuguese African speaking countries out there. So you can still have time while the music's playing. You can still put the answers in comments, because you can only win it if you answer while we're live. You have a couple of more minutes to answer. And Paula, over to you. Let's sign out.
Okay. Video running, and see you next time.
This hand.